All right, welcome into the Natty State post-game show here live from Bud Walton Arena. I'm John Nabors alongside Andrew Ellis. And guess what, Razorback fans? Arkansas won today. How about that? Final score, 78-75. Arkansas gets the dub. How about that, Andrew? How about that?
I've never seen a game go exactly according to script the way that this game did, in terms of just both teams looked bad. Arkansas looked like they were going to roll over and quit at times. They had some signs of life, and ultimately they did just enough to get it done against a Georgia team that's been struggling here lately, and they didn't look great tonight. Got hairy down the stretch a little bit. Not the most explosive crowd, but Arkansas survives.
Yep.
They win, and going into the game, I kind of felt like there were zero stakes. Like, if Arkansas won, nothing happened. If Arkansas lost, nothing happened. I don't view this team any differently than I did 2 hours ago. John, do you?
No, not at all. In fact, it's kind of the same vibe right now.
Yeah.
You know, like even when Arkansas, I think they got up as much as 12.
Yeah.
And the crowd was into it. You had Georgia had to call a timeout and kind of settle the crowd into. They were about as loud as you could get. And then, but even then, it was like, all right.
Right.
And then what comes down to it, Georgia takes the lead. Arkansas started having problems offensively, shocker, and defensively even, shocker. And so they let Georgia back into the game, but give credit where credit is due. They made the plays down the stretch. You had a big three-pointer by Ellis. Maybe he has to get erased from the missing Razorbacks board back at Natty State Sports Studios. So it was honestly, it was it's not going to do anything to change the season, but it was nice for, I think, Razorback fans just to have a different taste in their mouth after a game like that. So.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned Ellis, and I think that was kind of the story of the game, was going into it all week. We've heard all this stuff. Devo's back with the team. Caleb Battle was kind of benched in the second half. What was going to go on there? Ellis has obviously been on the missing Razorbacks list. Keon Minifield, who we've kind of seen him be explosive, but we haven't seen him consistently. It's kind of who was going to play in the backcourt for Arkansas, and Ellis played today. Played very well and hit a few threes. I guess he was three or four threes. What he had, three of 6. Big time. I mean, he was 3 of 10 in SEC play coming in. It goes to 3 of 6 today. Devo took one shot, made the one shot. Good for him. And he played 32 minutes. How about that? I mean, we thought there was a chance that he would just jump right back into the fold, especially for a guy that's kind of been around so long. So it's good to see him out there. It wasn't like a vintage Devo performance or anything crazy, but I think overall he was a net positive, I guess you could say. Yeah. And, Tremont Mark did Tremont Mark stuff. Oh, yeah. And he was the kind of the guy he always is, which for better or for worse, he is Tremont Mark. And, he made plays for this team when they needed to. And there was a stretch in the game where Jalen Graham took like 12 straight shots. What the hell was that?
It's
crazy.
Listen, he went 4 from the field with 11 points and 14 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that was all in the first half, it feels like.
He was MIA in the second half, but yeah, you mentioned Ellis, 15 points, 6 of 11 from the field, 3 of 6 from three-point land. Also had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and only 1 turnover. So in 37 minutes of play, he, alongside Minifield, went 6 of 11. Also, same exact field goal percentage, though he went 1 of 5 from 3. Also had 2 of 2 from free throws. He had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, but 5 turnovers for Minifield.
And were all of them him stepping out of bounds? Because it seemed like that happened like 8 or 9 times. I mean, in the second half, Curtis tweeted out, you would have thought Arkansas was not the home team with how often they were. I don't know what it was about moving half court. Like, it's like they had never played down here. But I mean, Minifield did it 3 or 4 times. Tremont Mark was stepping out of bounds. Blocker did it once. It's just like kind of weird. Again, it's like, I don't know what to take from this game exactly, because it was kind of the exact same thing we've been seeing all year. Signs of weakness in weird areas. But hey, the good thing is Arkansas was able to get it done. They were able to get the stops down the stretch. What, they give up 45 points in the second half, 46 points.
Yeah.
But hey, down the stretch, they got the stops they needed. Georgia was worse today.
Yes, they were.
What you can say.
Yes, they were. In fact, I didn't even realize until I saw the stats here that Arkansas in their final 10 shots made 8 of them. So, I mean, they really, granted, a lot of them were layups underneath. Mekhi Mitchell had 1, and also know Keon Minifield had another, and even Ellis. But overall, the offense definitely came to life for both teams, because Arkansas also scored 44 points. But, not taking away anything from Arkansas, but let's be honest, Georgia was awful from 3. I mean, to start the game, I think they started 0-11 from 3.
It was tough.
So they ended up going 4 of 18, Arkansas 5 of 14. Necessarily better, but also Arkansas's free throws. My goodness. Like that was, we know they're not a great free throw shooting team, but you got Jalen Graham going 3 of 6. Mekhi Mitchell missed some big ones. And Tremont Mark goes 5 of 8, which he's usually pretty automatic. Well, one of the misses was like the final play of the game.
Well, he had the most important miss of the game. I don't know, depending on if you bet on this game, you either had
2.5.
I had it 3.5.
Oh, man, that's
well, Tremont Mark, that was the most important free throw. I've never seen I mean, it was 0.8 seconds left. That was kind of crazy it came down to that. But yeah, the free throws are weird. I mean, there was a point. Arkansas was 4 of 8 from 3, like halfway through the second half. They end up 5 of 14, so they kind of went cold there down the stretch. But I was just glad that they took a few threes and that you got some of those variables to go your way. You had Debo make his one. Did Jeremiah Davenport start this game?
He did.
He kind of was MIA after that. Caleb Battle came in early, missed his 1 3-point attempt, and that was kind of it. Everyone's been wanting the short rotation. That's something that we've been talking about a lot. They didn't switch it up too much in the second half. I mean, they'd sub out Graham for Mackay here and there, but it was pretty much the same 5, 6, 7 guys the whole second half. And so that might just be the unit. So for better or for worse, that might just be your team. That might just, we'll see. But I say every time we say that, it seems like they come back the next game with a completely different rotation.
Yeah. Well, you had 4 guys play over 30 minutes in this game. You had, of course, Tremont Marco for 39, pretty much played the whole game. Ellis plays 37, Devo Davis plays 35, and Keon Minifield plays 31. And Mackay Mitchell was at 25 minutes, as you talk about with him and Graham kind of being interchangeable there. So you're right. That just might be, don't worry about Battle. Don't worry about Davenport. Chandler Lawson came in here and had some really early fouls. Didn't really do a whole lot. Layden Blocker had a nice shot like in the first half.
Yeah, he had a pull-up jumper. How about that?
I was like, okay, well, maybe this is going to be Layden Blocker's game.
If I didn't know any better, you just showed me that clip, I would be like, hey, it looks like he does that regularly. That looked good. But then he got a wide open 3 on like a couple possessions later and missed that one. But my favorite play of the first half was Keon Minifield with the block of the 3-point and then the go down. And he didn't quite get the dunk at the other end.
Right. But
I don't know if they'll count that as a dunk. But
put it in. Yeah.
He made that decision in the air. I could tell where he's like, let me go ahead and just make sure this one goes in. I don't want to mess around.
Probably smart. Yeah, because they had so many opportunities where they could have blown the tables or doors off of them and kind of ran away with the game. But it just really never happened that way. Now, I will say that going back to the Devo Davis thing, because let's be honest, that's kind of the story that everybody's looking to see. First off, not that I'm surprised by it, Andrew. I don't know how you feel, but when Devo Davis is checking into the game at the under 16, pretty much, he receives a resounding ovation. Like, I know people are just talking about, quitter, boo. But, I mean, that's probably the very small minority of people, a loud minority. But here in Bud Walton Arena, when Devo got into the game, I think he got what he deserved, and which is a ovation from Razorback fans and their appreciation.
Honestly, and we kind of predicted that this would happen. If anybody knows of our correct opinions on the John Nabors show, we kind of said the ones that you see commenting crazy stuff about Devo and the ones talking about the rumors and calling him soft, calling him whatever, those are usually not the people that are like going to games, that are there spending their money for the university. The ones that are here at and especially on a day like today where it was, a little bit of a light crowd.
Yes,
this is a real hardcore fans here today. So I think those were the ones more likely to show some appreciation for Devo. And, hey, I mean, I would love to say I'm surprised that he played 32 minutes after leaving the team for 3 games, but that's kind of
35 minutes.
35 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of just something that a lot of people predicted. I mean, I think you could have talked me into him playing 1 minute or him playing 40 minutes. Like, I probably would have believed you either way, but I think it just kind of speaks to the chaos of this team, that someone can leave for 3 games and then just come right back in and play 35 minutes. But it also tells you how they feel about Devo and just kind of what he's meant to the program. And so it's a little bit of a nod. And also with this team that doesn't really trust anybody, especially in the backcourt, they needed him today.
Yes,
so,
they did.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out. And look, Arkansas's perimeter defense, I thought, including Devo's, was rough.
Yes, it was
rough.
Yeah.
And luckily Georgia was bad. And so, look, I don't think anybody should be watching this game and thinking like, hey, they figured something out. They turned the corner. I don't think that's what happened here today, boys. No. But, hey, I said that this game didn't have any stakes. I feel like Wednesday night against Tennessee, that game has some stakes.
Yeah.
And it only has stakes because you won a game here, and now you can at least pretend like you are trying to string things together. And so, hey, we'll see what happens down the stretch. So it's not like a crazy performance or anything, but
no.
It's better than losing, isn't it, John?
Yeah, it's just nice to have a different, post-game show or even a live stream. I know we didn't do that since it's a home game, which maybe we'll look into one day.
It went a lot better than our live streams have gone for the most part.
Yeah, in fact, I was really going to be dreading it when Georgia kept just chipping away. And,
oh, man.
When they got up, I'm like, really, you guys are just dead set on doing this again to us. Like,
well,
come
how
on,
often
man.
does that happen where you have a team? Because Georgia led early in the first, 4 or 5 minutes. Yeah. Didn't lead again until with like 4 minutes left when they went up by 1. How often do you see a team make that way back and then not win? You know, it's very easy to lose those games.
Especially on the road.
If it sounds like we're not giving them credit, you have to. I mean, you're in Bud Walton Arena. You should win this game 10 times out of 10. But hey, Arkansas had a chance. The door was open for them to quit, and they didn't take it. Yeah. Which we've seen them take it a lot this year. So I guess that's the biggest encouragement for me. I guess is that this team is still breathing.
Yes.
They might not be breathing at a rapid pace. Might be still a little bit comatose. Maybe they're about to. They're still like the parents are holding their hand bedside like, honey, if you can hear me. But they're alive, though. Yeah. They're not dead. And that's all that matters is Arkansas is not quite dead.
Yeah.
They're still alive.
Yeah. It's kind of like they're going to be dead at some point because they're not going to the tournament. But you're like, well, at least we can hold on a little bit and have some nice moments at the end. You know,
the family that came in town to, like, thinking it was an imminent death, they're kind of like linking. They're like, so we're going to be here for, like, what, 3 more weeks? Like, what's going on?
Do we need to get an Airbnb? Like, just hang out.
Do I need to call in again for work? Like, what do I need to do? Like, but we're in that stage where they're not dead. They're still alive, and we'll see.
Yeah. Well, also, too, this is what was kind of crazy. So a lot of these stats that Georgia and Arkansas had team-wise are pretty even. You had rebounds. Arkansas out-rebounded Georgia 28-27, a low rebounding game.
A lot of when you're bad at defense and you step out of bounds a bunch of times,
helps.
Not a ton of rebounds.
No, not at all. So defense and offense are pretty even. Second chance points, Georgia had 11, Arkansas had 9. Now the bench points, Arkansas 44, Georgia 20, which of course was helped by performances by Keon Minifield and Mekhi Mitchell. So that's definitely big. Fast break points. Now, Arkansas had 19 compared to 15 for Georgia. Assists were at 10, dead even. Blocks, Arkansas had 6, Georgia had 2. So anyways, that's all pretty even. But the real telling stat to me, Arkansas had 12 turnovers. Georgia had 14, so 2 more. But Arkansas had 21 points on those turnovers. Georgia only had 8.
Yeah, it was like the one time Arkansas's transition offense wasn't bad. That's one area I really like. Tremont Mark, and I feel like I'm critical of his game a lot just because I hate pull-up mid-range jumpers that are contested. I feel like it's just an inefficient way to play ball. But I loved what he did in transition today. I thought that he did a good job of pushing. And Keon Minifield's another one where when he's not stepping out of bounds, he's really good at pushing that tempo and getting this team some life and energy and taking that one of their limited rebounding opportunities and running with it. I love to see stuff like that. And so it's kind of, I mean, there was a stretch earlier in the year where it was like, dude, this team just doesn't run.
No,
like they're the slowest pace ever. And so it's good to see them having some. I thought that was big. And a lot of Arkansas's turnovers, like we mentioned, were dead ball turnovers. So it's like those 12 turnovers, you don't want them. But it was a little bit. It wasn't like it was swaying in Georgia's favor. So that is huge.
Yeah. And it's like you like to win if you're a Razorback fan, but, it's just one of these games where I was even talking to Curtis Wilkerson. Curtis and Scottie are going to join us, hopefully, when Muss and whoever it's talking to, which I doubt it's going to be Devo, but you never know. But I was telling Curtis, before the game even started, I'm like, man, I don't even know, how to feel about this game. I don't really know what I'm going to be looking at. I don't know what to expect. And, a 78-75 victory is fine and all, but, I think also – see, here's what I kind of wanted to see. If Arkansas was going to win, I wanted to see somebody else besides Tremont Mark be huge for him. Caleb Battle's gone. The guy, we see him score a lot of points earlier in the year, but he's gone. And we know, of course, a guy like Mekhi Mitchell's been great. Graham has been great. It was just nice to see Ellis, someone different, someone that you've known what he's capable of, someone that you thought that, okay, he's had some good games, but for him to truly, I think, player of the game, no doubt. 15 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists.
Oh, yeah.
It was just nice to see someone different
100%.
Have to be counted on for Arkansas to have success.
100%, because, look, we can talk about what Arkansas can accomplish down the stretch. Whatever it's going to be, it's going to have to take some run of some variety, whether that's in the regular season, SEC, whatever postseason tournament they go to. When you're going to go on a run like that, you need you need your random game where your sixth man turns the tide for you. You need your Keon Minifield breakout game. We've seen Arkansas get a weird Mekhi Mitchell outing here recently. We've seen Devo turn games in Arkansas's favor plenty of times. So it's good to see, like you said, someone other than Tremont Mark. And, maybe Trevin Brazil one day becomes one of those other variables. We'll see. But
does he play another minute, Trevin Brazil, that is, this year?
About a week ago, I didn't get that vibe that he was done for the year. But the way Muss answered that question the other day at the press conference, asked if he was close to returning, and he just point blank said no. Didn't say no, but he just said no. He's not close.
So what is
I think I'm going to take him at his word. Trevin Brazil is not close to returning.
He's not close. And you're a month and a half away from the season coming to an end, if that, or less than that, I guess, at this point. So
he would also either be returning into a situation where Arkansas' season is already over, or he'd be walking into a situation where they built a lot of momentum without him. either one, not
Yeah.
one you're urgent to get back to. So it's like, I'm not saying like, hey, just pack your bags and go home, but
Right.
I would say that that's the vibe I've gotten just from outside looking in at the situation.
And also going back to the Devo thing, I mean, seeing how, much that he played in this game, 35 minutes. If you would have told me he's going to play 35 minutes, but only take one shot, like I'm not saying that Devo's a ball hog but you just by science almost, it's like you think a guard like Devo is going to take more than a shot, but that's really what happened. I mean, in this one, he had 4 points, 2 of those off of free throws, just goes 1 for 1, but also threw in 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals in the game as well. So
he had a lot of really good passes. I thought his ball movement really, and he has 3 assists, but I thought he was really he took 1 shot. He was getting rid of it, and I felt like his move kind of sparked this offense a little bit, and it's good to see. And defensively, we didn't get a classic vintage Devo on defense, I wouldn't say. But, that we know he's capable of that kind of. We know he's capable and slithery and getting to the rim and all that. And so, hey, it was good to see just Devo back out there and kind of getting his feet. I bet we're going to we got a tease of Threebo this afternoon.
Yes, we did.
But I bet we'll see a little bit more of an assertive Devo coming weeks.
Yeah.
Especially when they play Tennessee here and it's going to take something weird. I think we're getting high sock ball dominant Devo on Wednesday.
Yeah, we've missed that. Missed getting Devo with his accessories and everything. So
he also wasn't super accessorized today. He was toned down.
It's like it was like almost
y'all massacred y'all bullied the poor boy. Now he won't express himself.
Yeah. It's like you guys made him feel so bad for even having as simply as nails painted. And
exactly.
He's going out there looking like a basketball player from the 30s. Just nothing but socks, shoes, jersey, and shorts. So
what time is it, John? How far are we after the game now at this point?
7:29. Yeah.
If for the fans that want an update of which players on the team care about ball, we've got to look at the ones. Jeremiah Davenport, he's out here shooting. Layden Blocker out here shooting. Joseph Pinion out here. It appears like he's maybe shooting, but he also is wearing a weird headband. But those are your hogs that care about ball.
Oh, my gosh, he is wearing it. What is that?
It's a very weird headband he's wearing.
Yeah.
Oh, he took it off now, but it looked weird.
Oh, I thought he's saying he's wearing a headband right now. I was like, that's quite the headband because I can't really see it.
He's down here now. He's stretching it out, but he was wearing it in a weird spot of his head. But those are your 3 hogs that care about ball. Cade Arbogast was out here. He cares about ball.
Yep, just getting shots up, getting some free throws up.
We'll keep you updated on who cares.
That's right. So we also had some recruits today. I saw Jalen Shelley.
Yeah, Jalen Shelley was in the building.
He was in the house. So saw him. Got Sidney Moncrief was honored as well. Yeah. So that was good to see. They're trying to pull it out. I sent
my dad a picture and I said, there are not a lot of people here, but Sidney Moncrief is one of them. So
that's
we're happy.
Yep, we honored him. We honored him at Bud Walton Arena. So yeah, again, we'll be hopefully joined by Curtis and Scottie here in just a little bit. Also, going back to Arkansas's performance and everything, especially with Jalen Graham. It's just he's an interesting cat for many reasons. He did, like we said, 11 points, 4-7 from the field. Did have 3 rebounds, no turnovers, no blocks, no steals or anything like that. But it's just like, it is pretty incredible to see a guy who just kind of flips things up and it goes in. And then there's other times where he just, I don't know, it looks so weird and awkward. It's strange.
100. It's like he has a diverse offensive skill set, but at the same time, sometimes it's like he's trying to decide between which post moves he's going to use. And he's like, let me just use 3 at the same time. Let me just spin, hook, and under up. It's like, but every now and then you'll see him really get the ball and be decisive with what he's doing. You're like, oh, wow. It's like kind of unstoppable. You see him in the post sometimes. Makai's got a little bit of a bag, but yeah, it was weird how ball dominant Jalen Graham was. There was a stretch, and he was getting good looks. I mean, 4-7 was missing the free throws when he get fouled, but yeah, they were kind of running offense through him there in the first half. I thought that was just going to be the game plan, but then in the second half, they kind of toned it down a little bit.
Yeah, because I kept thinking it was last year was the Florida game was when Jalen Graham went off, and I was thinking it was Georgia, but that was Nick Smith that had his game where he went off last year. So I was going to say there's something about Georgia, but that obviously did not.
And Devo had his breakout against Georgia back as a freshman, so we had no shortage of breakout candidates today.
What was his game? I don't remember that.
So his freshman year, one of his first, I don't know if he started, but he had like 23 or 24 when they beat Georgia with that team with like Moses Moody and all those. And it was kind of the moment where everybody was like, oh,
this guy can play.
Kid, like he really is going to play down the stretch.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's
after that pull-up jumper, I thought we were getting that from Layden Blocker for a second.
Right, yeah. And I mean, that was the one thing that kind of surprised me too, because I was like, okay, this might be the Jalen Graham, Layden Blocker show. And nope, they weren't even in the second half.
Well, here's the thing we've learned about this team is if you see a development happen, good or bad, and you're like, hey, I would like to see that again, don't expect it.
Right.
It might happen, but it'll happen weeks later. It just kind of is what it is. Here's what I want to know. Why does every time that they're in a situation late game where they need a free throw, Leighton Blocker's on the floor every time.
I don't know.
And look, Leighton Blocker had some moments early in the game. He hit that pull-up jumper, but it's like there was a situation where there was 1.2 seconds, and they were up by 2, and they just need free throws. It's like that's the only thing you need. Why would you not just have your 5 best free throw shooters on the floor?
That's what I thought the whole point is.
I thought so, but it's every time they're in a situation like that. I don't remember what. Maybe it was like the Wilmington game that earlier in non-conference. They had a situation, and he got fouled with it was Lipscomb. He got fouled with they were up 3 and they just needed 1, and he missed the front end of a 1-and-1, and it was like, why was he in that spot? I don't it doesn't make sense.
It's almost like you put it up there and you're like, why? Like, what are you doing in that certain situations? Like,
by the way, I know a lot of fans hate whenever Arkansas does the stall ball down the stretch, and
the stall ball,
somehow they're just so bad at the end of game, like just getting it in, getting
and they always
fouled,
have been.
And it's lasted through generations.
Yep.
I mean, coaches, it's just kind of Arkansas's offensive sets at the end of game are just cursed.
I know, and it's like even as simple as getting the ball in.
I know, it's
which I don't understand. No, not to really hammer really minor details, but why is he on Minifield under the goal, passing the ball in on his own side of the court, the shortest guy on the Arkansas team, as then they put I forgot his name now, the guy that the big dude for
54?
Georgia, 54, Chiwa. Shibwe. It might as well look like that's what it looks like. But anyway, he's sitting there guarding him, and he packed the shot back, and Immature got in. I just always felt like, I know those guys are your best passers, but just not to have the shortest guy passing the ball in, just simple stuff like that.
Especially because if you're going to have someone inbounding the ball, make that be the one guy that can't shoot the free throws.
Exactly.
That'd be kind of ideal. But they had Devo at the end of the game. They had Devo inbounding it, and Leighton Blocker was an option. Makai Mitchell was an option. I was like, what are we doing here, man? It was weird.
It's absurd. But, we'll get to some of your comments, folks. So chime in on them, like Kingsley here saying, Coach let L rock, and while he wasn't perfect, he played through mistakes and played fairly well. And that's actually a good point, because he had a turnover earlier in the game. I think it was in the first half, and it was a bad turnover. It was a terrible turnover. And I immediately looked at the bench. I'm like, okay, he's gonna yank him, and he didn't. And I feel like, not saying that I know Ellis, but it just has always felt like that's not how he handles things well, where he makes one mistake and he's out. Even though that may be Muss's way of doing things, and it's fine, it works for some. But I was at least happy to see him leave Ellison, and who knows, maybe that's kind of what led. It's like, hey, leave you in, figure it out, and work your way through it, and let's go through it. And I think that was a big thing for him.
Well, and look, the last few weeks when El was struggling, I was starting to be dismissive of the idea that the offense plays at its best when he's on the floor. But if you just look at this season as a whole, whether it was him shooting, scoring, or just kind of even being out there on the floor, it does seem like he unlocks something for this team offensively. And so, it was good to see him justify it and, make Muss look smart for sticking with him there by hitting some huge shots down the stretch. It was an interesting performance from the backcourt, because it looked like there was a little bit of a chemistry building. It's like if this performance had happened in December, maybe I could be like, hey, you know what? They can build on something like this. It's just tough that this is happening in early February.
It gives you no good. I mean, again, it's a good feeling to win, but it's not like a feeling of, okay, now it's going to start cooking, because even if it did just start cooking, it's too little too late. I mean, it really is. They're 12 and 11 now officially.
I guess the one silver lining could be if they had, when they got up 12 early in the second half, and if they had just run away with it there and just won by 14, 15, 16, perhaps maybe it wouldn't have been as beneficial for this group. Maybe you could make the argument that facing some adversity and kind of having to overcome it, especially the fact that he stuck with that same group, maybe there's something to build on there. I'm just making this up. This is not an actual thing I believe, but I'm just trying to make sense of what I saw and try to find a way to make light of a 3-point win over a mediocre Georgia team.
Hey, listen, we got to do what we have to do. I mean, that's all we can try to, analyze and discuss.
Like I said, though, they had the door was open, and Georgia was like, hey, do you want to quit? And they said no.
Yes.
Which is good, because sometimes you just say yes. You're just like, you know what, actually, we do want to quit.
Warrior Way says, what's the record for the most times stepped out of bounds in a half? Because I'm telling you, that was
and it was
absurd.
all second half, like you're saying. It really was something about and it was this baseline down here. Maybe
they shrank the court during the bye week or something,
maybe credit to Georgia. Maybe that was just part of their situation. They were like, hey, and it might be because Ellis, who weirdly enough was not one of the culprits of this, he loves to drive baseline and then have no idea where he's going with it. So maybe that was something that they thought of, hey, if we force these guys baseline, they won't have really a clue, and worked out well for him.
Because they had 5, I think it was 5 of those.
Legit 5.
And I think Keon Minifield had at least 3 of them.
Yes.
So I think one may have been Tremont
He had
Mark
2 almost back-to-back, and then he had a third one.
Okay, so look at this. Look at this. Hold on. Let me get the camera around here. I don't know if people can see it, but if you look at the court down here, folks, that is Muss down there in the middle, and
also,
it's
that's
Mikel Mitchell. Yeah, it's Mikel Mitchell. Down. Wish I could zoom in on these cameras. It'd be nice.
Y'all just got to trust us. That's him down there.
That's him. That's him right there smack in the middle. That's Muss and Mackay in the green hoodie, and also Mikel Mitchell. So how about that? And they're dapping each other up, and
should we call Devo
so,
up here?
Oh, I'm sure he'll. I'm sure that Muss would love that, as well as Mike K would and everybody involved. Sure they would love that. So okay, well that's cool. That's cool.
I didn't
realize
Mikel was here.
Yeah. So good to see him doing well. I know he's Little Rock, right? So
he is at Euler.
Yeah, Euler. So good.
At Chris Beard's former stomping grounds.
That's right. Chris, former future Razorback coach Chris
former
Beard.
Trojan and former future Razorback. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Cody says, I love Minifield. Love watching Minifield shoot the 3. What's his percentage for the season?
I would imagine not great, and he was 1 of 5 today. But the one he made was the worst one he took. Is what's crazy. It's like he took that one from like 30 feet. But he had a couple where I was feeling it. He shoots it with confidence. Keon is interesting. He's really fun to watch. I think back to when he first played with Arkansas this year, and Muss was saying that he was waking Danielle up in the middle of the night and being like, "You got to watch this kid. He's awesome." He was playing at like those 11 p.m. West Coast games. You see what Muss was seeing now, where it's like he's just fun to watch. Like he just gets things going. Even when he's stepping out of bounds, he's doing it, and he looks cool doing it. He looks like he's having fun. He just brings that energy, and so I love everything Minifield does.
By the way, Minifield is 31.6% on the year from 3.
That's about what I thought. Like that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's not great. And I will say though that his assist to turnover ratio is 1.9 to 1.3. So, whatever that means.
There you go.
Trying to find something. Trying to find something to do up. So, So I don't know if Leslie's serious about it. I can't believe they didn't put Joseph Pinion in. That guy right there is the best player on the team. Surely, you jest.
Sure, yeah.
Surely you jest. See,
by the way, Leslie was really shook up about the Toby Keith death.
Really?
Leslie was really shook up about it.
I mean, we all were.
No, we were
sad.
we were
They played a lot of Toby Keith today.
They did play. They played Red Solo Cup.
They did.
I like that.
Everyone sang along. It was great.
Oh yeah, it was
and of course
good.
they play the courtesy of the Red, White, Blue, but they do that most of the time when someone of the military service or veteran is honored.
It's a top 5 sporting event song, I would say, for sure.
For the courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue?
Yeah, I think it's like one of the better ones.
Yeah, it's just because it's one everybody knows, and everyone starts belting out and starts going crazy with it, too. So, let's see. The Fuzz Man says, we really needed this win. Let's go Hogs. So, it's true. They did need wins, and this was a lot of them. Yeah, I don't know if you got enough of them in the bag, but yeah, you're hoping that's the case. I mean, again,
wait till the net gets a piece of that one.
That's right. Yeah, I'd like to know where their net ranking is now. But, like you mentioned Tennessee, who's coming up Wednesday at 8 p.m., I believe.
Oh, yeah,
it's an 8 p.m. late game.
Valentine's game. So if you're looking for a date,
come to Bud
watch
Walton.
the Hogs and Vols.
Yeah, the Hogs and Vols and Bud Walton. But, I mean, not saying they're going to win, because I am not going to pick them to win. I'm not going to bet on them to win. It just ain't happening. However, if they found a way to have a little Bud magic and have a little night where they haven't hit a lot of big shots and maybe they put some things together and it'd be nice.
It would be at least a cool moment for us to remember. It would be funny also if we look back at the season and we're like, man, they beat Duke at home.
Yeah.
They beat Tennessee, top 10 Tennessee at home.
And that Purdue game
Yeah,
they beat counted.
Yeah, they shut down Zach Edey.
Yeah.
That was probably a great season.
Yeah. In fact, if those were 3 games that you pointed out and said Arkansas won those games and looked good doing it, then you'd be like, wow, must have been a great year.
Yeah, it must have been a great year. You'd compare it to the year they beat Auburn at home and Kentucky at home and all those teams. But no, not as cool.
I don't really like the matchup of Tennessee anyways. I feel like of all the type of matchups,
the women's team has to play Tennessee tomorrow too, so could be an 0-2 week against the Vols for Arkansas.
How do you pronounce that guy's name for Tennessee? Is it the guy that goes for like 80 points every game? Connect? It's not Connect.
Oh yeah, Connect. No,
is it Connect?
I'm pretty sure it is Connect. Dalton.
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Yes,
he's Dalton. That's what he is. The big guy, the big white guy, Dalton.
Yes,
that's his name.
Yeah, because
I think it actually is Connect.
Is it? See, I kept looking. I was like, that should. Why do they always have names of players at Tennessee that like Vescovy or Vescovy?
But nothing was better than Admiral Schofield. That name was awesome. I mean, that dude was stacked.
I'd say if you name your child after like a ranking at a military service, he better be like a dude.
If you look at Admiral Schofield in the face, like he looked, and he was so jacked, he looked like a sergeant. You know, like he looked like an admiral. It was like, oh, that is Admiral Schofield right there.
It's like Admiral and then I don't know if you remember from South Carolina football, Captain Munnerlin.
Yes, Captain Munnerlin in the corner.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was awesome.
Like I said, if you got a military ranking as a first name, you better be good at sports. Better be having that too. So
absolutely.
Let's see. Anything of note that like really stood out to you as far as anything else in the game? I know we've gone over a lot of the stats and everything, but
there were a couple times where there was a loose ball on the floor, and I saw at least one Arkansas player jump for it. I saw Jalen Graham get on the floor for a loose ball. Devo jumped down there for one. Maybe Keon at one point, but
yeah, I remember that.
The little things, John. That's what we love.
Plays.
We love the little things. That's what this program is built on.
Yes,
and I like seeing some of that. And I'll be honest, like I was watching them at halftime, and I was trying to I was getting my body language doctor eyeglasses on, and I was really just analyzing. And I was like, man, I don't know. Halftime, they just kind of look a little bored, a little disinterested. But they came back. When they came back for the shoot around, I felt like there was a little bit of a pep. And I was like, you know what? They're going to win this game. And they started the second half really well. But, I was really analyzing. And, Curtis will have more thoughts on this whether it's on this show or in the Pod of the Palace, whatever it is. Because I know he was really keyed in on what Devo was doing. He just kind of wanted to see how he's interacting with the guys. And so I'll be interested to hear some of his thoughts. But, no, yeah, I mean, it was you could tell that they're still in it. They're still there and they're still trying. They're still rowing the same direction.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit more of a connective tissue with this team forming. I don't want to say they have an identity just yet.
No,
we still don't really know what this team's good at. We still don't know if they have a skill set. But I feel like at least chemistry-wise, they're starting to form something.
Right.
Which is more than nothing.
I feel like if you've ever put together a puzzle, a 1,000-piece puzzle, and you start with the borders.
Yeah, they've got the border now.
It's like they get the border. It's getting there. You don't know what it looks like. You don't know. You got a long ways to go, but at least the border's kind of becoming.
If this were a 162-game season, John, I really think Arkansas about game 60 to 70. I think they would probably be turning that corner.
Yeah.
So this team, they didn't get eliminated from the SEC tournament, and their season didn't end in Nashville. They just ran out of time. That's what we're going to say about this team.
Man, that was my favorite phrase
ever.
They
just ran out of time.
Ran out of games. Ran out of games to go out there and win. So let's see. We got more comments coming in. I think, here it is. Blue Chasing Blues says, I still don't see how Minifield is not your starting point guard every game. His tempo to me is a game changer.
Well, you mentioned earlier when you thought Ellis was going to get yanked out of the game, and I remember saying to Scottie, I was like, I don't know how Minifield doesn't play over Ellis. And now this was before Ellis decided to go for 15 points and 3 assists, but I was like, I don't know how both of those guys cannot play. Especially with Caleb Battle, we still don't really understand what's going on there.
No clue.
And I think that was another hashtag coach's decision for him not to play. I think it's just kind of one of those things. And it was probably the right decision. I feel like this group that they had out there in the second half, as hairy as it got, I think that was the right group to play the game with. But yeah, I thought that Minifield, he just brings a spark, man. And we talk about the up-tempo and getting this team going in transition. He does that better than anyone. And one thing him and El are both really good at is getting into the middle of defenses, which Tremont Mark can do it and can make shots and make mid-range shots, but he doesn't really get into the middle of the defense and break him down and get the ball moving in different directions. And Devo wasn't super aggressive tonight, so I thought it was really important that Minifield and Ellis were able to create shots for themselves and others off the bounce and make some outside shots to make it work. It was huge for both of those guys because I think they're going to need both, especially if Caleb Battle is not going to be the Caleb Battle we thought he was going to be.
Well, speaking of Caleb Battle, I wanted to bring this up too. So we know Caleb Battle's we've seen great Caleb Battle, and we've seen bad Caleb Battle, and then we've not seen Caleb Battle much at all.
Battle.
Yes. Yeah, we've seen him battle through a lot of things.
We've seen the Caleb Battler, and we've seen Caleb Battle.
Yes, we have. Well, he goes on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and there was a guy on X, Twitter. He says, quote, the Arkansas men's basketball team is in total disarray. Not only can they not play together, they have massive emotional and anger meltdowns. The latest is Caleb Battle told Eric Musselman, coach to bleep his bleep.
To give him some fellatio is what this young man is saying.
Yes, and then he, of course, goes on to go on a rant. But either way, what transpired from that is I'm sure Battle was either showed it or sent to it or he just saw it get retweeted,
which,
whatever
by the way,
it is.
Happens every time.
Yeah,
if you think you're going to just fire off a shot that's going to go into the wind, they're probably going to see it.
Yeah. And this is something that Battle actually had 2 responses to, but he says, man, stop the cap. Y'all trying to create fake narratives for clout on college kids, and it ain't right. I got nothing but respect for Coach Muss and the University of Arkansas, along with the fans, coaching staff, and teammates. I'll go to war I'll go to battle is what he should have said. But
Yeah, he
I'll
should
go
have
to
said that.
war for Coach Muss any day of the week, with or without, or any day of the week in a uniform or without one. That's my coach, and this team is my family. Stop making up stories for clout. Sad you're willing to tweet out lies for a couple of likes. Corny.
That is
It's pretty
that
corny.
is an interesting. I will say, I always think it's hilarious when the players strongly rebuttal, and they're like, "Oh no, hell no."
Mm-hmm.
But then I don't know. I'm not saying that Caleb is lying and that whoever it was that tweeted that out is right. But I will say there is a lot of smoke. So it's like I think you need to clarify what actually happened. If you're going to tell us that you're lying and oh no, this happened, well then what happened? Why'd you get benched in the second half? But
what's the old phrase they say is like, don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining.
Yeah,
like that's kind of how I feel with this. I'm like, listen, we're all of us are not stupid enough to think that there's just sunshine and rainbows.
Devo, he was taking a break.
Yeah,
and it was fine.
And then these are my brothers. Like just like like talking about the team and how much they're just like they're in it and they love each other and everything's fine. Y'all are the ones making up stuff. Yeah. Your comments and stuff. It's making up stories.
The basketball team does a good job.
Kids.
They only respond to stuff usually whenever they're either winning or in a decent, when they're not coming off of a horrible loss. But I guess in this case they were coming off of one. But they usually they waited for the Missouri game to start addressing all of the social media talk of the last week, and so I'm sure now after this Georgia game they'll have a new social media rampage where they're responding to all the quote tweets and all people doing stuff. But it's just part of it. Which more power to them.
Also, Bill says, "Why didn't y'all throw something at that barking Georgia fan? Did you see that kid down there?
Oh, we saw him.
That was impressive.
Scottie was dying. Scottie loved that.
Yeah.
I can tell Scottie liked that. But now, why would we throw anything at him? He's just a fan doing it. He's barking. They're the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, trying to do their thing.
Yeah.
And then Randall McGee Sr. says, "Win is a win, man. Though can we make it? Or man, though we can make it almost like we lost. Battle just takes terrible shots. I don't know if the team plays or it's the worst defense since the Pelfrey days, but either way. But hey, we got to hold on, let's get Scottie and Curtis in over
just
here.
tell him, buddy, Battle took one shot.
He did take one. And it honestly wasn't a horrible shot. It was the shot that we love seeing him take, the one off the catch three in the corner.
Yeah. So
it just didn't go in.
Yeah. So fellas, I know you got back from the press conference. Any juicy updates that you want to throw at our way?
No, I mean,
All right.
Sounds thrilling.
What was the passes number? 227?
Oh, yeah, 227 passes in this game, 119 in the first half. Yeah, that
is notable, yeah.
That'll play. I mean, 119 in the first half. They had, what it must say is like 165 for an entire game a couple weeks ago. So that's good, especially when they were getting, trapped in that 1-3-1 the whole second half. So keeping the ball moving, getting it out of there, not getting stuck in those trapping zones. It threw them off for a little bit there, but overall it sounded like Muss was pretty pleased with how they handled it.
Tremont Mark's girlfriend showed up to the post game.
She did.
Really?
Yeah.
So he does indeed have a girlfriend.
That's
confirmed.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
she
the
released.
juicy news.
Did she get up on the mic and give a statement?
She
Totally
walked
great.
into the room.
Okay.
Good. Well, I know that there was also people wondering who the player would be. Did we get Devo to speak to the media?
Nah.
No.
T. Mark and Ellis.
Well, I guess Ellis makes sense. He was not too bad.
Those do make sense, those two guys.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. So I'm curious, just what was, and again, anytime after a win, it's a little bit better, but just Muss's vibe. Like, what was the vibe like from the guys and Muss?
I think the takeaway from his vibe was like some of the last things he was saying was like, it was a step in the right direction, but got a lot to clean up. Like that's the vibe, and it's going to continue to be the vibe. Maybe
He seemed a little bit relieved, maybe. To me, obviously happy to get the dub, but he was very quick to say, basically he didn't know how good his Sunday or Monday was going to be because now he's got to start prepping for Tennessee. So
No, good.
You don't win. You either win or you learn. Today, Arkansas got to win and learn, guys.
that's right.
That's the silver lining.
Yeah,
They were forged by the fire that they faced today.
But, he had some good things. He had some good things to say about Mekhi Mitchell, who scored. He scored 10 of his 14 points in the last 5 minutes of the game.
Which I don't know if you guys knew this. Me and Andrew got the scoop. So Mekhi Mitchell is here. And down there in Muss and them were dapping each other up and embracing and everything. So that was
it was hashtag good to see is what it was.
Oh wow.
Yeah, former Razorback.
Love
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
I'm
so that
happy
was
to see
a
it.
nice little moment there.
I saw Dusty Hannas.
Yeah,
Dusty
he
Hannas
was
was
down there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we had
that?
Moncrief, Mikael Mitchell, and Dusty Hannes.
It's a star-studded
The
event
all-century team or what? I
dude,
mean,
I'm telling you, like, who else did we need? Oh, and also Jalen Shelley, future.
yeah,
maybe
future
Razorback.
member of the all-decade team.
Yeah, future. Yeah,
How
exactly.
big was Makai Mitchell's 5th rebound, fellas?
here.
Dude,
That was huge,
That was
wasn't it?
important. That was a
almost
big
as
development.
big as the free throw that Tremont Mark hit, but at least he missed the second one.
Tremont
Just
Mark
that was
literally
big.
like, he probably had Vegas in his ear while he was shooting those free throws. Like, hey, make that first one, and then we'll see. Oh yeah, go ahead and miss the second one.
Yeah.
Make the
That was
second miss
crazy,
really
man.
convincing.
If
Let it
people
hang
don't
on
think
the rim
sports
for a
are
bit.
rigged, man, just watch that final sequence. That was nuts. That last minute of the game, from a gambling
dude.
perspective, was unreal.
Yeah, there was a lot of people sweating it out. In fact, that's always my favorite thing is seeing, especially Razorback fans who are here in the arena, have reactions to where even if Arkansas wins, I saw a few gentlemen down there in the bottom right that were about as mad as I've seen some fans after a win. And I was like, you know what? I think they had Arkansas 3.5. And that's just kind of what you can tell from all of that. So, but yeah, it was good to see. So we were talking about Ellis, and you know, somebody, I think it was my buddy, just said, hey, you got to erase him from the missing Razorbacks board now.
Hell yeah, I
'cause-
can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, how about that for him?
Half
Just
the
to,
board is going to have a line
mean,
through it. I mean, Devo, no.
yeah,
I know. Well, I mean, you love to see it. He's been in a tough situation. Like Ella's the guy that I've used as an example so many times this year, which is how crazy, you know, the rotation and the lineups have been. And again, like I get it. I understand what Muss is doing and why he's doing it, shaking things up. He even said after this game tonight, like they're probably going to be a team where the lineup moving forward it's based on matchups. Like it's just whoever they're playing, and they're going to put the matchup out there that they feel is best fit for it. But you know, I think it takes some fortitude for a guy to start and play a bunch of minutes and go from that, not just to, oh, now you're just coming off the bench. Like, no, you're just not playing. And that's what's happened to L multiple times. And, you know, he got back in the lineup a couple weeks ago. He starts 3 games and then 2 DNPs in a row, just nothing. And from the sounds of it, he really handled himself well in practice over the course of this week, and they gave him a shot. And, I mean, hell, they wouldn't have won this game tonight without him. I mean, he was great. I didn't realize it in real time, but Muss even said that he was defending Georgia's power forward position for like 20 to 22 minutes, he said. And they didn't get hurt at that spot. So, you know, 15 points, he hits 3 threes. He's did he lead the team in rebounding or
He was
tied for it?
the lead, yeah.
Yeah.
With Makai Mitchell.
And he had a handful of steals, and he was guarding a power forward. So good job.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every time L has a game, every time he has a good game now, it comes after like not playing at all. And so when he goes into the post game, he's asked like, how do you do this after not playing at all? And he's just like, it's pretty like he loves to hoop, and he said that tonight. But he made a couple of his threes against that 1-3-1 zone in that left corner in front of Arkansas's bench. I looked at CBB analytics, fellas. He'd made 2 left corner threes all season coming into today, and then he made 2 today. So L. Ellis 3-point stonks going up.
And what was
Scottie,
the other stat that you gave me about the number of guys who've hit 3 3-pointers in a
Yeah,
game?
he's the second Arkansas player to hit 3 threes in an SEC game this year. Can you name the other one?
is it Minifield?
It was Minifield in the SEC opener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
Wild,
They
man.
hadn't had a guy hit more than 2 in an SEC game since. So it was
That's
Auburn
crazy.
and today.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Minifield. You know, you mentioned L being in the corner.
Dude.
Yeah.
The reason he was in the corner, when I wasn't even going to bring up that Minifield,
sorry.
but I just meant Minifield being in the backcourt with L. I feel like we spent so much this season being like, is it going to be Minifield or Ellis or Devo or whatever? Turns out the answer is maybe just play them together, and they play pretty well together. It seems like it.
Look good. Minifield's slippery, man. When you're
Too
going against a
slippery, damn near.
1-3-1 like that, I mean, that's the guy you got to have in there, because, you know, he can dribble out of a mess. He can also dribble out of bounds, which we
You
saw.
can dribble
several
into
times,
and out
but-
of messes.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
no, he was solid. He's pretty solid.
So we were also talking about the next game, of course, being Tennessee here at Bud Walton, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Tennessee, one of, if not the best team in the SEC, or South Carolina, you know, one of the two, as we all know. But, you know, that's one of those games where we were talking about, we're not going to predict Arkansas to win. I'm not going to bet them to win. I only probably would bet them to cover the spread. I don't know what it's going to end up being, but still, it's just not, to me, it's just not a good matchup. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, Tennessee's always physical. They always got dudes, and Connect
Yeah.
over here is going to.
Who's a great matchup for Tennessee, honestly?
I don't know, man, but
South Carolina.
Apparently Texas A&M
Yeah, but
is, 'cause they're
South
up like 15
Carolina.
right
I was about to ask
Yeah.
how that was going.
Yeah,
Okay.
right now for that
A&M's
game,
up 15 on Tennessee.
41-28.
13, I should say.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
41-28 with a minute and a half to go in the first. So
I remember when Tennessee and Kentucky were playing last weekend or a couple weeks ago, whenever it was, and the statement that was said on the broadcast was Tennessee's a bunch of men and Kentucky's a bunch of boys. Well, if they're saying about that, about Kentucky, then what's Tennessee going to look like against Arkansas walking in here? No disrespect, but like the level of grown man and toughness, and it's just it's different, man. So that doesn't mean you can't have a good showing, you can't beat them, but Arkansas is going to have to play their A++ game to hang with those dudes.
Well, you
Arkansas-
mentioned Kentucky.
Arkansas's front court's going to have to play out of its mind.
Absolutely.
to match up
By the
with,
way, how do you
like,
pronounce
Adu
Dalton's last name?
Connect.
is it Connect? Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
There you go.
We did it. We spent like
Cowboys.
2 minutes on the show. We were like, is it
That
The
K
important
ain't
things.
silent. Yeah.
necked? What are we doing here?
Yeah,
But,
yeah, yeah. We always talked about, Tennessee just has guys that's like, Vescovir, Vescovi. It's like no one really knows about names and pronunciations. Like just have normal names,
But what's
fellas.
y'all's
Be like
favorite
Rick Barnes
Tennessee
and Colin
basketball name
Santi.
of the last 8 years?
It's Kai Ziegler.
Double Z.
I love that name.
Better than Admiral Schofield?
Shoot.
Schofield's good.
Eve Pons.
Eve
He's a good
Pons is
one.
a good one.
Eve Pons is like
Admiral
legitimately,
Schofield's great.
he's the prototype. Eve
Yeah.
Pons is
no
the
no
prototype.
Folky.
No Folky.
Oh,
No,
no,
I don't like
I
him
hated
because
that guy,
Jimmy
dude. I
Dykes used
hated
to say flick it all the time on
Yep.
the broadcast. I'm like, brother, you guys.
Yeah,
You
that-
don't
Wilkerson
exist,
that
and
dude.
entire
Castleton
thing-
were the same guy. Like
It's
just
true. Fulkerson makes me feel bad for being a Wilkerson.
Mm.
Just from hearing
Oh.
that so much, And I
Yeah.
used to have people who would call me Wilkie, and it piss me off.
yeah, stuff.
Yeah.
Made me so mad. So
It sounds
yeah,
dirty.
it does.
So we got a few people in the comments here, but everyone's talking about the stepping out of bounds. Like that's what
Dude,
everyone's
it was-
blowing
it
their
was nuts.
minds about that.
Well, and then for all the people who I've gotten this a lot on Twitter, and on message boards and stuff in the past, like how often does Arkansas practice in Bud Walton Arena? Like, how much work do they put in Bud Walton Arena? Like, not enough, because you would have felt like it was their first time playing in here. At least Keon's. Somebody else did it. Was it Layden Blocker?
Yeah, he
Also
did
stepped
one.
out of bounds.
Yeah, one.
But yeah, that's an awareness thing, and it's weird to me. I don't know if they were giving up baseline, but man, just I don't know.
How about
don't step
how
out of
L
bounds.
wasn't one of the ones who did it? And that's
That's
it. That's
yeah.
like his go-to. I feel like.
No.
Yeah, maybe they shrunk the court during the bye
L-
week or something.
L is normally the guy that like drives baseline, leaves his feet, and bad
Right.
things happen. And now
Yeah.
it was
And it was only this side too. It
Yeah.
was very
benefit.
very
yeah,
bizarre.
same end.
Can we all
Yeah.
agree that Arkansas is just never going to have an effective press breaker at the end of
No.
at the end of
yeah,
games?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. We
Like-
yeah.
It's so bizarre to me.
Like, will there ever be a game where Arkansas just like puts it away and it's easy? Like, they got an inbound play that they get it inbounds
Yeah.
and it gets to the guy they want shooting free throws
He makes them.
and he makes them. And, they play good defense down the
They don't-
stretch.
How
Don't
many times
foul.
does Arkansas foul a 3-point shooter in a situation
Dude.
where it's like that's the only thing you can't do?
Yeah, just
I
don't
know
do
that was tough.
That was a tough
Yeah,
one
that
from
was tough.
Devo.
Well, they were up 5, or was it? Yeah, they were up 5 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just let him have it. Like,
Yeah,
that's,
let him make the three if he makes it.
yeah, you're like, you're fine. Like, I know I get playing defense, but good grief.
Yeah, that right there is what put the spread back in jeopardy.
Sure did.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
I mean, it wasn't T-Mark's fault. It
All you had to
started
do
with
was just
T-Mark.
let him miss the shot, and then we're all rich.
Yeah,
Just,
just
my kid would have been able to go to college. but
don't
now,
reach in on the guy who's running full speed and then turns around and flings up a three falling out of bounds in the right corner. Just let him take it.
Yeah, doesn't
He's
seem like
nice
a-
though.
Yeah.
Hill,
Yeah.
dude,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
good.
Also, too, well, we were talking about this. I know we'll kind of move around to the SEC, but how the leash, if you want to call it, for Ellis, where we saw he had a terrible turnover in that first half,
Yeah.
like just dumb, absolutely. And I looked to the bench immediately. I was like, oh, yeah, all right, get him out.
Yeah,
And then
that'll do.
they let him in. They let him play, and we know Muss and how he handles things and all that. But maybe that was a poignant moment today for Ellis. Just hey, leave him in and let him figure it out.
You know what helps him stay in the game? Rebounding.
Oh yeah,
And he had 3 steals today. So he tried.
Yeah.
on the
Effort
defensive
is
end.
there.
There was effort made, multiple efforts made on defense. That always helps because that's what, like before this season kind of went to crap. Like that's a non-negotiable. That's what's going to get you on the floor is if you try on defense, you give effort on defense. L did that a couple different times. He would like sneak up on somebody when they had their back turned, and he would just swipe down, get steals that way, kick off a break. So
all
yeah,
he
L
needed
was
to hear.
good.
was that it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to make a mistake, Al.
Yep.
That's all he needed.
No, it's not a mistake if you learn a lesson.
And that's what El has learned his lessons.
Yeah. Yes, he's had a lot of lessons learned this year.
I was just about to the point where I was going to look over at somebody and say, why is Jalen Graham not in the game?
Yeah.
And then Mekhi went nuts down the final stretch there. But I was just looking at that zone and, dude, like you get Jalen Graham a touch, around the elbows or wherever in that soft spot, like he's going to go to work. And it was driving me nuts. And I was getting ready to start causing a scene up here. And then Kai just,
Yeah.
10 points in a row, basically. And,
Well, they
and
each
shut
had
me
their
up.
spurts. Mekhi's
They
at the
did.
end of the game, Graham in the first half, and
They had
when
nothing for him early. Yeah.
right. It was like Arkansas was able to kind of get into the middle of that zone and make stuff happen, and that kind of ended up being what put them over this. I mean, we mentioned all the shots that the guards make and Keon and Ellis making their shots, but those two spurts from the big men down the stretch and early in the first half, like, ended up being the difference, really.
You want
Balance.
Some, or
It
go
was
ahead,
not-
buddy.
well, I was just going to say balanced effort. I mean, when's the last time Arkansas had 5 guys in double figures?
The last time Ellis played well.
Probably so.
Yeah, true.
I mean, they had. I went back and looked because I thought, well, maybe Missouri because they scored 90 some odd points in that game.
think.
They had 4 that night. So I don't know when the last time they had 5 guys in double figures.
It really just comes when you think about this team, and Trevin Brazile, who is no longer with this team, it appears. The thing with him is when he played well, it seemed like Arkansas's offense was just at a different level. It seems like is firmly in that category too, where when he plays well, everyone else seems to play better too.
Mhm.
And Tremont Marcus played well a lot, played well more than anyone on this team. He's been the best player on this team, but it doesn't necessarily work that way, where when he plays well, everyone else is cooking too. But I think that's what's most encouraging about fighting through what he's had to fight through and playing well is that it actually does seem to have a symbiotic effect on this team where everyone seems to benefit from it. And that's kind of, I mean, I know it's stupid to say that, like, oh, it's good when one player plays well and other, but this team doesn't have a ton of skill sets that seem to work well together. So it's nice to see him and Minifield out there forming some chemistry, him and Devo play together, and then the big men. You're at least starting to have a semblance of an identity, and you at least know who your guys are. And even though they collapsed in the second half, I'm glad that they stuck with that group and just let that group figure it out. And they figured it out enough with the help of Georgia, but it worked out. And so it was good to see them make some of those strides, and I'm encouraged.
A couple of things. The last time Arkansas had 5 guys in double figures was the Florida loss.
Really?
But that
Wow.
was just like
That was a random. I mean,
So that
Joseph
was
Pinion had
T-Mark,
10.
Davenport, Blocker, Pinion, Graham.
Oh.
Wow.
It's one of
That was a
those.
very, but that's
Wow,
a
okay.
misleading one.
And then the second thing I had, we were talking about Kai and Jalen Graham. The last 4 games, those guys are combining to average 26.3 points a game in the last 4.
Twin
Those
Towers.
guys are cooking.
Man. Well, I don't know
Buckets.
if, like, maybe it's more obvious, but I just saw the numbers of when was the last time Arkansas had 4 guys in 30-plus minutes, like in a game. So we know how much they just change the rotations and change starters and all
that's
that.
a good sign for
Like,
this team.
yeah. And, I mean, it would have – because I think Mekhi had 25. So he was close. So felt like even that was a stat that was like, it's kind of unique,
Yeah.
having that much minutes from single guys. Let's see. Arkansas and looking at the SEC, so Arkansas is now sitting at 12-11. 3-7 in conference play. Did not make any movements as far as the standings in the SEC. Still
Who are they-
sitting at 12th.
Who are they closest to?
Georgia.
Oh.
Yeah,
right.
Georgia's 4-7.
Could we get the trilogy in Nashville?
Ooh.
We need to settle this.
Yeah, because
I hope
you
not.
got Georgia.
You're going to get a Missouri trilogy and a Georgia trilogy. That's Arkansas's route right there.
Man.
Yeah, you got Georgia at 4-7. LSU and Mississippi State are at 4-6. So they've yet to
Arkansas plays
play.
LSU down the stretch. I mean,
and
they
Mississippi
have to,
State.
they're gonna
they
win
have
that
to-
game
They
here.
have to play at Mississippi State. That's
Oh yeah, I mean that's not going to happen. Yeah, they're not going to win that one. But yeah, still got Ole Miss at 5-5, and A&M's at 5-4. But
If Arkansas just won out, they wouldn't be in that horrible of shape. But
It's true. It's true. If they could just win all their games.
Yeah, just
they just
right.
won out, they would only need to win like 4 or 5 more games to be in good shape.
They
That's
act
right.
like the path is complicated. It's not.
It's not just win. Like just stop losing and
Yeah, score more points than the other team. You got it.
if
Yeah.
they just go 1-0 every game, that's really what it comes down to.
And then become #uncommon. Is what
You
they
got to be
become.
uncommon, and going 1-0 every single game is uncommon,
It's very uncommon.
especially in this sport.
Looking around the real quick, the scores in the SEC. Starting with the some of the early games. How about Alabama and LSU? Hope you bet the over on that one, boys.
Yeah.
109-92. Bama gets the win on the road.
It was 14-14 like 3 minutes into the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Just nuts.
just like, Bama had 60 points in the second half. They scored.
They also
49.
scored 109 against LSU the first time they played.
It's almost like there's a good offensive matchup there. They see something they like there. So, but yeah. Alabama is now sitting at 17-7, 9-2 in SEC play. You also had the South Carolina Gamecocks beat Vanderbilt 75-60 in that one. So South Carolina and Alabama tied for the top of the SEC standings.
Nothing has made me look like more of a fool than saying South Carolina wasn't good. Those guys are for real.
It wasn't a crazy statement when you said it,
but
but
Lamont Paris
took it
really
personal.
looks like he knows ball right now.
Like
picked to
Something about
finish
when
last in the league.
When you
and
take
never
shots,
first.
people really take it to heart. I mean, the city of Buffalo, South
Yeah.
Carolina,
Mhm.
just is what it is.
Yeah, start talking trash about Arkansas, so that way they can start taking it to
I
heart.
think I might.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, here's what it is. You had finally given up on Ellis. You were close.
It's true.
You
I
hadn't
know.
given up on him, but you were waning in your confidence. I think he sensed that, and he took it personally and was like, you know what? If even Curtis is starting to lose faith, I gotta lock in.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's
Well,
what he did.
you reeled me back in today, sir.
Yeah.
Well done.
You guys, you probably know this, but you know how many games in a row now South Carolina has won?
Ooh, like 8.
They are on a 7-game win streak right now.
You remember when
7
they
games.
won
It's a
in
good
Rupp?
team.
And that
It was like,
includes,
what the hell?
like it includes Kentucky and Tennessee and
Hey, but Kentucky
They
might
won-
suck.
one
'Cause-
here.
In Arkansas?
Go ahead and read that score cut, John.
Oh,
Craziest thing is
Saw
like
that.
Michi Johnson might be like their 4th best player right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got a freshman that's absolutely cooking.
Yeah, so you had that. We'll just go in order of the times, but Gonzaga and Kentucky played in the middle of the SEC season, and this game was at Rupp, and Gonzaga gets the win as Kentucky literally threw the game away.
Yeah.
89-85, Gonzaga wins that one, and it's the first time ever that Kentucky has lost 3 straight games in Rupp Arena.
Crazy.
Ever.
Wow.
I was worried about Scottie. He was sitting to my left when that game ended, but he persevered.
That was leg 4 in a 4-leg. Everything else hit. That one didn't.
Ooh, well, you might be
Ruined my
joining
day.
Kentucky fans that want John Calipari fired because it is the
Yeah.
#1 trending sports topic on social media right
Like,
now.
look,
Yeah,
they
I
got
mean-
the ball in Reed Shepard's hands in the last 10 seconds of the game, and you told him to pass.
Lottery pick reach.
What?
Yeah.
And then Dillingham scored like 6 shots today.
Yeah.
Barely played.
Well, I wanted to say, I wish I could go back and see the video, but someone put up a video of showing the reaction of when they were drawing up the play. It may have been Reed, like where they see the play and he just almost like rolls his head back, like, what are we doing type thing. And, that's going to make it even worse for Calipari in Kentucky. But yeah, 16-7, 16-7. Now, Kentucky still, of course, probably going to go to the NCAA tournament.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Yeah, just not a good one for them.
They'll be a tough 8 seed.
Oh, yeah. How about Florida beating the crap out of Auburn? I know it was at home in Gainesville, but 81-65.
I feel like
A lot
Florida
of
gets a
Tigers
dub.
played well in the swamp, but
Ooh.
apparently
I
not.
feel like Auburn might have emptied the tank against Bama
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
couple days ago.
Yeah, shot their wad, if you would, like Lee
That's a
Corso
better way
says.
of saying it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Lee Corso would do and say.
Rick Pitino style one. Hey,
think
Rick
all-
Pitino had a big win tonight.
I think Auburn's really good, but sometimes you just don't have it.
Yeah,
just get
it's
got-
just- sometimes you got those
on the
games,
road.
man.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens to you 11 times in 23 games.
Chad Becker-Mazzara transferred to Arkansas next year.
Yeah. Where's he at on the big board?
He's
On the
on
front.
there.
Oh, he's on the front.
He was
front
one of the
big
first
board.
additions.
Top
Good.
line on the front.
Good. Also, at halftime, Texas A&M's leading Tennessee 42-28 in this one. And Connect does have 10 points, but Wade Taylor's 15 already in the first half. So,
I did see it. I saw he hit I think 4 threes in the
Mhm.
first half. Taylor did.
Yep.
Yeah, it's-
and finally, the one that everyone's really got their eyes on in the SEC, Mississippi State on the road against Missouri. And this one's got less than 4 minutes to go in the first half, and Mississippi State is leading 22-16.
It's been that score. It was like 20-14, like 8 minutes ago. I've been seeing it not changing.
Yeah,
I was like,
I maybe
hold
to
on.
hit refresh. Nope, you're right. Yeah, it's been the same score. I hit refresh, so it's not just a delayed
but
response.
they updated
from-
the Tennessee. Tennessee gained 2 points during halftime somehow. It's 42-30 now.
Oh, yeah.
I
I
hope
guess
Missouri wins that game, man. Get
They,
them
they
going.
need, they
That'd
need
be
some
nice.
good luck. You need. Who doesn't want to beat
CV
Mississippi?
CV showcase.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes,
be nice.
something like that. So, all right, guys, we're just about to wrap up here. Final thoughts? Anything that you want
Did
to
y'all
add?
talk about the Corgi race?
No,
we didn't.
Give us
No,
the breakdown.
yeah.
Electric.
Yeah, the Corgi race. For those who don't
Peppermint
know, it was a halftime
The
performance
dog in
by
the middle boat raced
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
How many? Dude, it took them like the race was literally like 2 seconds, but like the amount of time it took the PA guy to announce all the dadgum dogs.
There were 11 dogs.
Yeah, like do we really need that many? Like do 8, like or
Dude, we
something
should've
like
had
that. You know,
20.
like it's just ridiculous. But that was pre-final. I was really hoping someone would just like drop a load and bend a fresh biscuit on the
Oh, it'd
the
been
hog
great.
logo or something like that. That would have been great.
That was so much better than the French fry thing and the
Yeah, that was
tic tac toe.
dumb.
That was awesome.
Tic tac toe is
That's
always
great.
tough.
Yeah.
That might have been on Red Panda level for me.
Ooh,
Good corgi
They
races.
just need to make the race longer.
Red Pandas
Yeah,
watch.
go
The dogs
across
hit
the
like
court.
the dogs got like 2
That's
strides,
gross,
and then the
man.
race was over.
Yeah, you got to go full court, man. You got to
Yeah.
I'm
make it
pretty
go full
sure I
court.
saw one of those corgis in a car on the way here, and I could have swore I was at a red light. I could have swore the corgi was about to jump out of the car. Like they had the window down, and they like the feet were up there, and I was sweating bullets. I thought he was about to
What do you think
jump
the
out.
corgis were doing like during the first half? Like, did they have like in a place down low? Like, we're just all right, go into this room, all the
Locker
dogs
room.
in
I
there.
think they're
like,
probably stretching and
yeah,
Stretching their balls and
yeah,
Getting
something
loose.
like that. Like, did what the winner?
dynamic stretching high knees and all that.
What
yeah.
the winner get? Did we know? Like, did they get like
Don't know.
free like
got a
thing to
little trophy.
PetSmart? Like,
a rousing ovation from Bud Walton Arena.
Yeah, it's
oh yeah, it was a rousing
biggest pop of the
ovation.
day, probably.
Yeah, them and Debo Davis return, and those
Yeah.
were the big applauding moments. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, okay. So I'll do it for us here on the Natty State Sports post game show live from Bud Walton Arena for the first time. Like, we all got
There you
together.
go.
We decided to
Get that to power.
stop making it
Times.
difficult on ourselves and actually do it all in together. So all right, we'll be back for Tennessee game,
Yeah,
8
we
p.m. SEC Network, right? I believe something like that.
I don't know.
I think it might be an ESPN one. ESPN
Ooh.
2,
Ooh,
ESPN 2 at
Yeah.
8 o'clock.
the Deuce.
Yeah, let's see. We got that game going to be on ESPN too. Yeah, so like for some reason, okay, so they got it wrong on the radio because they said it was SEC Network. I'm blaming them. So
Yeah,
People don't lie on the radio.
yeah, that's right. They never say things that are wrong on the radio. So, anyways, for Andrew Ellis as well as Curtis Wilkerson, Scottie Bordelon, I'm John Nabors. Be sure to follow Natty State Sports everywhere you go for great Razorback content, and we'll see you for the post game show on Wednesday nights at whatever time the game is over. So, we'll see you all then. Have a great one.